are you barking? You're barking at yourself. You guys just gonna get the chair back up. But only Marissa will understand the challenges of the tech lab. All right, here we go.
I am Latoya Benson. Xavier killed my son. He was murdered unexpectedly on January 9th, 2021.
Allbird. He was murdered by DC Metropolitan Police in their custody. He died in their custody, and they claim that they don't know what happened. They had no business arresting him.
This is Life After the Impact, a podcast for impacted families by impacted families that focuses on what happens after the media, the lawyers, and the activists are gone. Impacted families are left to face the loss of a loved one to police sponsored violence. We will focus on their continued fight for justice and how you can get involved.
Just walks away with police taking another life today. The loved ones torn the left to say candles burning. We do pray.
Good evening, I'm Roxanne Johnson. My son Jamal Byrd was murdered by DC Metropolitan Police in 2019. I'm here with my co-host.
Good evening, you guys. My name is Latoya Benson. I am the mother of Xavier Hill. Xavier was murdered at the age of 18 by 2 Virginia State police officers, January 9th, 2021. We are honored to be joined tonight by Annemarie Grant. Do you want to go ahead and give a brief introduction, please?
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name's Annemarie Grant. My brother, Thomas Purdy, was 38 years old when he had a mental health crisis and was asphyxiated to death by Reno police in Washoe County Sheriff's Office.
Sorry for your loss, Annemarie, but we're so excited to have you here this evening. What year was that that your brother was lost by police violence? What year was that?
It was 2015, so we'll be going on 7 years in October.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened on the night that your brother was lost?
Sure. So we're from Massachusetts, and my brother was a guest visiting the state of Nevada, and he had a mental health crisis on the casino floor that he was a guest at, and he asked the security for help. He was non-combative, non-assaultive, non-aggressive. He was delusional and did think that someone was trying to shoot him, and instead of helping him, security roughed him up, trespassed him from the hotel, and called Reno police, who showed up and put him in a hog tie, which is when they connect your hands behind. They handcuff you, and then they connect your handcuffed hands to your shackled feet with a strap behind your back. It's similar to what they do to animals at a farm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So sorry that happened to you and your family. And so since the 7 years ago that this has happened, how have you and your family been working? You know, we like to talk about as much pain that comes within the trauma of losing a loved one. We like to talk about the ongoing actions and any kind of any kind of initiatives that you're putting forth as a family to get justice for your brother.
Well, first and foremost, thank you to both you two ladies for putting forth this initiative to give other families a voice, to try to let other families know what we can do to make changes together.
That's right.
But at first, for the first couple of years, you know, I wasn't connected with any other families, and a man named Raquel connected me with other impacted families, and I saw how empowering that was for me to know that other people understood and that I wasn't alone. And I also recognize the collective power that we have together, that our voices are stronger together. And I started reaching out to other impacted families, whether they had been in the fight, you know, for 15 years or they newly into this nightmare that nobody wants to be a part of, just sort of to try to pay it forward, because as we all know, there is no manual when the police kill your loved one. So just to be able to connect and let other people know that you're not alone.
Yeah, because you have a pretty big database. I know you have a pretty big database as far as like, not only do you share what's going on, but I know you share Rick's information too as well as far as this page is concerned. I'm not sure we have that link, but I know that she does, I mean, is it every Friday or how often?
I actually try to share every single day the names of the
that
people.
the loved one was lost, right?
Yeah, on that particular day of the year, the
That's
people,
it.
yeah, that have been who have died during interactions with law enforcement on the state since the year 2000. Because there was, I refer to fatal encounters database. I use a lot, but because there was no database until like 2014 when he created that, and there's no real data collected before 2020. So we don't truly know the
How many
actual
numbers it is.
Yeah.
Mhm. Now, Emily, let's talk about so when it comes to data, right? I was talking with somebody else, and we were saying how it's really important for people to understand how many lives are lost to the police. We were talking earlier about people say all the time they're collecting the data. Explain to anybody as far as we know, one of the biggest hurdles we have to jump is qualified immunity, right? Explain to people the connection with the data and qualified immunity and how you're making that connection.
Well, qualified immunity is the barrier to holding law enforcement accountable. Of course, any family that's been impacted and lost a loved one to police, we want to see jail time and criminal charges, and we have to keep fighting together to get to that point. Right now, our only avenue is civil lawsuits, but even then, most civil lawsuits die before they even start because of the doctrine of qualified immunity.
That's right.
Which basically says that if it's objectionably reasonable, the actions of the officer, then they get qualified immunity, and it's okay that they murdered our loved one. And I say to myself, well, if it was objectionably reasonable to hog tie a non-combative, non-assaultive, mentally ill 140-pound soaking man for 40 minutes, what isn't reasonable to them? And so qualified immunity is something that was actually created by a judge, like out of thin air. The judge decided qualified immunity would apply to law enforcement, district attorneys, and judges. And a lot of the times it's also used for other state actors. But in this situation, qualified immunity is the absolute barrier to families getting any type of civil litigation justice. And it also kind of ties into, there is another Supreme Court case, Graham v. Connor, that is, when a district attorney justifies a shooting, you'll see that they always refer to Graham v. Connor. And it's like, oh, the officers have to make split-second decisions, but then they also say, you know, that they're going to look at the totality of the circumstances. But let's be real. those officers are trained at the academy on what they need to say to justify killing a community member. They are taught, they all use the same, you know, keywords. Barricade was reaching, looked like he had this XYZ, but so we actually, myself and another impacted sister have started a petition that actually is asking, if you fill it out, it explains a little bit about a qualified immunity, and it's asking your state representatives and our US representatives to end the doctrine of qualified immunity and support a bill that would do just that, end qualified immunity for law enforcement. We can't get to accountability if qualified immunity is in play. And the petition also is requesting that when law enforcement use deadly force, that a truly independent investigation occurs that does not involve law enforcement of any type. Because police investigating themselves is never going to get us to transparency and accountability.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and I also just would encourage families on top of signing the petition, look into your local legislature when they're in session and support the police reform bills that may be coming up. I know 2021, they had a lot more police reform bills, but who can speak better on the issue than us directly, than impacted families directly? They shouldn't be hearing from lobbyists or people. They can't deny our testimony and truth, and that's our job, is to give our loved ones truth, because the state or the city or whatever agency it was robbed our loved one of their voice, and it's our duty to speak out for them, and it's our duty to do whatever we can to get these changes made in the laws so that no other families have to endure this nightmare.
Like Roxanne says all the time, we have to go out and vote. I think part of it, even when people are to sign a petition, right, and you find who your congressman is or your senator is in the area, it's important to still make sure you're voting for the right person. It could be anybody in office, right? You got people all the time say, I'm running for governor right now. You could be a horrible person and have no agenda for the people. So I think it's important that we not only educate ourselves about who is in office, we got to know what the primary, and I'm brand new to this. So like I said, I'm a newbie, but I know part of it is getting involved. And, you have to, when people say, because I had the impression the whole time, we say, hey, our vote is not heard. It might not be heard supposedly on the national presidential level, supposedly, but your local level, it can't be exercised, because the ones who are not doing nothing for us, get them out of here, right?
That's right. That's right. It's important to know who you're voting into office. It's important to support like-minded candidates who are supporting the issues that you are. And like you said, and if they get into office and they don't follow through, then you need to we'll hold them accountable, and get them out. Yep.
That's right.
And you know what I would love to see personally is an impacted family. You get out there and you run for office, that we're all at different stages and stuff. I personally couldn't do it, but nothing would make me more happy than to see a directly impacted family member running out there for office.
There is a mom. There's a mom. I can't think of her name right now. I'll send it to you later. What's her name, Roxanne? Do you know her name?
Adrian Hood.
Adrian, that's
not only Adrian Hood, but there's another mom I know too that actually ran and she won.
Oh wow.
I'm gonna think of her name right now, but Adrian is running right now though for a seat. But I want the other mom might be in Florida. She ran and she won, they said. So it's kind of it is possible, man. It definitely is possible.
Hey, right there, that's an action we can all take when we get off tonight, is to write a letter in support of Adrian Hood for the office that she's running for. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep. And I just want to mention, the petition will automatically send it out. You won't have to do any research. The petition will send, this petition that we're circulating will send it off and to the right people for you. So, because I know, like you said, I'm a newbie, 3-4 years into the legislature, and it's you're learning every day. They don't. It's intentionally this way, though. They do make it so convoluted, but but once you know, baby steps, you know, we learn something
Baby
new every
steps,
day.
yeah.
Every day is a learning process for all
We
of us.
had Angela Pencil on last week, and he was just saying how it's important for the people to apply the pressure and have that power behind the right people. Because if, you know, you have people like Adrian, there's other moms who are impacted, who are going into these seats. They need the power of the community to say, hey, y'all know what's going on, because we have the same agenda, right? To want to push that objective.
Yes, I agree. I'm so happy to hear that. Like I said, we have to be the change we want to see, you know?
Absolutely.
So Annemarie, once we fill out these petitions, what happens next?
It'll automatically send it off, and you should, you'll get an email confirmation. Some no, it all depends on your particular legislature. I know for me personally, it took a couple weeks before I got back. Sometimes you'll get an actual response from one of their representatives or their attachés, assistants, whatever they call them. Sometimes it's just an automated message, but don't, you know, you can continue to keep the pressure. You call your local elected officials. Researching who is going to be elected for district attorney when it comes to the issue of police brutality and police killing your loved one. That's a major player and somebody that that's the race you really want to focus in on. Follow the money. There are websites that you can go to that will tell you who are donating to these particular candidates, whether it be police unions, you know, big corporate business. You'll know that it's, you know, it's the law. They have to report, and usually each site does have a website where you can search that information. Do your research, because a lot of them talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. So
get them out of here.
They got to
get
go.
them out.
Get them on out of here. Like you said, I think too, that's another avenue too. People gotta realize, I learned as well myself that you think that it's the end all be all when that one DA says not gonna prosecute. What I'm learning is that when there's a possible one who got the right head on the shoulders, you can, you know, present your case again. And there's no guarantee, but you don't know unless you try, right?
That's right. And I think that I've seen a few cases actually in California. I'm
It's
not
moved
sure
through that, right?
Yep, there's a couple. Yep, I'm not sure what county it was, if it's more than one county, but California passed a law a few years back, and now some DAs, if they're going through the cases and they're reviewing them. And like you said, there's no guarantee, but I don't believe it would have happened without the pressure of the public and the families directly themselves.
We had DJ Henry, we had Wayne on here a couple of weeks ago, and the same thing with his case. The case happened, I think it was 13 years ago.
Yeah.
And the family kept pressing on, they kept pressing on for the new DA, and the new DA kind of decided they haven't given any promises yet, but like I said, just the hopes of knowing it's not the end all be all, you got an avenue to go to.
Right. And I think, you know, applying pressure, or said another way, you know, closed mouths don't get fed. The squeaky wheel gets the most oil. So we gotta make noise. We gotta make our self known and heard, you know, that we want what we want from these lawmakers who are there to serve the community, not the other program. You know, we pay law enforcement, quote unquote, to protect us. I don't know who they protecting, but you know, that's a whole nother story. But the bottom line is we have to hold them accountable on all levels, from the municipality to township, all the way up to the White House, to the Senate and the Congress. We have to hold them accountable, because if we don't, they will continue to do nothing.
That's right.
Do nothing. So what else is going on, Annemarie? You know, you got the petition going on. What else? What other actions?
So the families in Nevada, the families impacted in Nevada, in the county that my brother Thomas was killed in, we organize a yearly event where we get together to support and share our stories in truth. And we were calling and still calling on the Attorney General Aaron Ford he has the power under a bill that passed in 2021 to open an investigation into any state agency for patterns and practices of constitutional violations, and certainly law enforcement robbing people of their due process and life, right to life is huge constitutional violations. And
Yes.
and it seems that there's a lot of, and this is across the country, but a lot that the response to mental illness is bullets, tasers, armored vehicles instead of compassion, humanity, and kindness and empathy. And I think we have to all be vocal and say, this isn't how we want police responding to situations in our community with escalation and violence, and at the cost of human life. Preserving the sanctity of human life should be number one on, like you said, the municipalities, the city council, your county commissioners, all the way up.
Yeah.
So I'm just continuing myself. The Nevada legislature is in session, and thankfully, unfortunately, I don't know how you forget it, but because of COVID.
Annemarie, can you send me the link again real fast? I want to be able to show everybody on the screen as well where they can actually go.
Latoya, or
To send it send it to me on Facebook if you want to. That's fine.
okay, and you're talking about the link to the petition, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, sorry. There we go. Okay, I think you should have got it. Sorry, I'm on my phone too. And also, we have a website, impactedfamilies.com, where we're just trying to provide support to other family members, provide information. We're just getting that going. It's just in its infancies, but we do have a say their name memorial page on there. And if anybody's interested in having their loved one's name added, there's on impactedfamilies.com, there is a form to join. We also, I also would appreciate if anybody's listening, and I'll get like the information of how you can help do that. But there is a bill in Nevada currently, SB 362, which would require a peace officer, I hate even using that word, but that's the word in the language of the bill, to, if someone indicates that he or she can't breathe, that they get them immediate medical attention. It's common sense to me. It shouldn't have to be codified into law. My only issue with the bill is that there's no consequence should law enforcement choose not to actually act upon what the language of the bill says. Should it pass, there's no consequence. And I did let them know today that, the consequence should be a prison sentence, a long one. If it costs somebody, a human being, their life, because of their negligence. So I'd appreciate support. There is a website on the Nevada legislature where you can just click a thing that you're in support of it. And if you don't mind, I'll get that to you after, Latoya.
That's fine. We can always share later on. That's totally fine. We just want to make sure that anytime we have a meeting, we make sure that we are about action, and we want to be able to have people to they have to know where they can go to get to be able to support that,
Yep, the petition's on Impacted Families too. It's IMPACTEDFAMILIES.com. There's a link on that and a link to the other thing to submit your loved one's information. Trying to think.
Guys, Annemarie also is on Facebook as well, so you can find her on there. Keep in mind that she does. What's Rick's last name? I can't think of it.
Rick Hill.
Rick Hill. Okay, so I know she shares, like she said, it's daily. So look for her page. If you're also looking for just other families, because it's a good way to know names that are not out there. It's a good way to know people. There are a lot of John Does out there. You'd be surprised. Even if you go visit his website, you can see on there how many people are listed as like John Doe. And they're not even accounting for, they're being killed by the police. So Annemarie, we want to thank you so much for your time this evening. Be sure to send me whatever links you can, how we can support your fight for Thomas, as well as the bill is concerned too as well. We're here to fight together.
Yeah.
Thank you, Latoya and Roxanne. I enjoyed the opportunity to come on and speak with you both.
Yes, in solidarity. It's nice to meet you.
course. All right, good night, you guys.
Night, everybody. Thanks to Sophie for her technical skills too. Good night.
Hello, Aki. I appreciate the grace. Thank you. Oh, 1 second.
Bye-bye.
All right.
We'll just close out with, let me make sure.
When you see something like a Jalen Walker, where about 100 shots are fired, which is obviously at least gross negligence, right? You're obviously acting recklessly. You're doing all the things that show you should take a closer look into this and hold someone accountable, and nothing happens. It usually speaks to, from my perspective, system-wide corruption. It's like this is too blatant for there to be no accountability, no action. And something that's this egregious. And then it's important because, you know, some of us know the history that right next door in Cleveland, there were 150 shots fired not that long ago.
Mhm.
So this is something that officers in this region
Are getting away with.
and getting away with. And the district attorneys, the attorney generals are declining to prosecute anything. So for us, when Jalen Walker happened, unfortunately, we were like, we have to do something very extreme to get attention, right? We knew, we were like, because if we don't,
People are gonna pay attention.
and not only that, that's what the prosecutors want. They want the community to be quiet.
Yep.
That way they,
Yep.
way they can sweep it under the rug. Our goal is to let the prosecutors, the mayor, and other elected officials know this isn't going away.
Right.
And you have to do something.
You have one more clip as well, and then we'll close down.
When you see something like a Jalen, one of the challenges that we realize there's not enough consent decrees happening around the country. And most of the names people don't know. So I think we have to go to the DOJ and force and say to them, listen, we got thousands of names. And we believe these names are connected to patterns in local law enforcement that's going unchecked. And we know more individuals are going to die because of it. Because the consent decrees, again, like that happened after Rodney King. And different administrations, and the Trump administration came in and they ended them. So we really need something in place that takes the consent decree to the next level. The community of individuals and families who hold these names near and dear have to go to the DOJ and make this a priority. And I think it also gives us the ability to begin to think and organize together. Because people have to realize the gravity of what we're dealing with. We're dealing with folks being lynched in 2023. And not only are we dealing with folks being lynched, we're dealing with folks Black folks being lynched predominantly with no accountability, no recourse, nothing left to deal with that trauma, right? But we need to talk about what the next level of pressure and accountability looks like, because I think we have to go beyond consent decrees as well.
I am Latoya Benton. Xavier killed my son. He was murdered unexpectedly on January the 9th, 2021.
He was murdered by DC Metropolitan Police in their custody. He died in their custody, and they claim that they don't know what happened. They have been arresting him.
This is Life After the Impact, a podcast for impacted families by institutions that focuses on what happens after the media, the lawyers, and the activists are gone. Impacted families are left to face the loss of a loved one who police responded to violence. We will focus on their continued fight for justice and how you can get involved.
Give me the one that just walks away. Put your police, take another life today. Leave a loved ones torn that I left to say. Burning, all we do is pray.